Why is that such an issue? Why can't you just listen to the Australian people, pull back on the immigration, let us catch up? High immigration has been a disaster for Australia. On behalf of the majority of Australians, I demand a halt to immigration. We must catch up on our housing, our infrastructure and our services. We must care first for the Australians living here now. It beggars belief of what you are doing. I don't know who your masters are, but it's certainly not the Australian people we are their servants and we should be listening to them. But you've turned a deaf ear to the Australian people with regards to this. I want the people to have a say, a real say. There should be a debate. There's never been a real debate about this. You've never explained to the Australian people why we should have high immigration.
Mate, the video kicks off like someone's just dropped a live microphone into the middle of Parliament House and yelled, "All right, who's ready for some drama?" The air's crackling, the senators are shifting in their seats like school kids who know the principal's about to walk in, and suddenly, boom! Pauline Hanson launches into the chamber with the energy of a magpie in swooping season. She's not walking, she's not strolling, she's storming in like someone who's been storing up 28 years worth of "I told you so" and is finally cashing the whole lot in at once. You can practically hear the imaginary drum roll as she starts warming up her vocal cords like she's about to belt out the national anthem at the MCG. She locks eyes on Penny Wong, who's sitting there with that calm, careful, diplomatic face she puts on whenever someone's about to start shouting. Real quick before we roll the footage, if you're enjoying this content, do me a huge favour, hit that like button and smash subscribe. Over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing. Don't be one of them. It's free for you and it helps us out more than you know. Already clicked? You're awesome. Let's get into the video.
High immigration has been a disaster for Australia. On behalf of the majority of Australians, I demand a halt to immigration. We must catch up on our housing, our infrastructure and our services. We must care first for the Australians living here now. Why is that such an issue? Why can't you just listen to the Australian people, pull back on the immigration, let us catch up? It beggars belief of what you are doing. I don't know who your masters are, but it's certainly not the Australian people we are their servants and we should be listening to them. But you've turned a deaf ear to the Australian people with regards to this. I want the people to have a say, a real say. There should be a debate. There's never been a real debate about this. You've never explained to the Australian people why we should have high immigration. You can't even explain that. You don't want to because you can't. You're incompetent. Explain to them why you're bringing so many people into the country. Maybe they might agree with you if you can explain it.
Hanson's warning in 1996 that she says has come true today. Pauline fires off her opening line like she's lighting a fuse. High immigration, she says, has been an absolute disaster, a catastrophe, a full-blown, we need to stop the bus right now because someone forgot the Esky situation. And she's not whispering it, mate. She's dropping it like it's breaking news on a Sunday night. Australia needs to slam the brakes, catch its breath, patch up the potholes and fix the pipes before letting another passenger on board. And Penny Wong gives this tiny blink, the kind that says, "Oh, we're doing this today." Meanwhile, if Anthony Albanese were actually in the Senate, which he's not, because that's not how the Australian Parliament works, you just know he'd be doing that polite nod he does whenever things get chaotic, silently reheating in his mind the words, "Order, please." Let's bring it back to the actual question. But nope, today he's spared. Penny's the one in the splash zone. But Pauline isn't just in second gear. She skips straight to fifth, roaring that the government has turned a deaf ear to the people. The way she says it, you'd swear she's about to walk over and start checking ears herself. Like some kind of parliamentary otoscope technician. She wants explanations about immigration. She wants answers. She wants transparency. And she wants it now plain, like a mum demanding to know who ate the last Tim Tam. She says the people deserve a real say, a real debate, a proper explanation about why immigration is high. And she leans into it, dramatically, suggesting the government either can't explain it or won't explain it. At this point, Penny Wong shifts slightly in her chair and you can almost hear her inner monologue. Mate, I came prepared for policy questions, not a full-scale theatrical performance. Then Pauline, in classic throwback mode, dives into her backstory. Not a polished politician, she says, a mum of 4, a businesswoman, someone who's lived through life's knocks like a boxer who keeps getting up after round 12. She tosses out fish and chip shop references like seasoning, reminding everyone that she's built her political persona not on Polish, but on bare bones Aussie grit. You can almost imagine Albanese wherever he is, probably having a cup of tea in the lower house, glancing at the TV screen and thinking, oh, yeah, we're doing the OG 1996 speech revival today. Then she goes deep into the content of that original speech, the one that caused the uproar decades ago. But she's doing it in this modern Senate moment like she's unfurling ancient prophecy. She revisits her claims about benefits, multiculturalism, inequality, political correctness, taxpayers footing bills, bureaucratic fat cats and government programmes. And while she's recounting it all, the Chamber's got this mix of here she goes and what year is it again floating in the air. Every so often you see Penny Wong give that diplomatic half smile, the one that says, I'm going to let her finish. But at some point I will respond with a sentence so calm it will reset the room. But Pauline's in full performance mode now. She's bringing up unemployment, national debt, social division, foreign aid, the UN, infrastructure, youth unemployment, or the whole political buffet, delivering it all with the intensity of a footy coach, giving a halftime speech when the team's down by 80 points. She throws in metaphors, she throws in stats, she throws in references that sound like they were pulled straight from a pub argument at 11 p.m. She says the nation's got huge resources, but somehow we're drowning in debt. She warns of nail holes in boats, of standards of living dropping, of catastrophic unemployment figures. All while the senators around her sit there, looking like they're wondering whether Pauline's speech has now entered its 4th hour. Then she dives back into immigration, multiculturalism, assimilation, ghettos, foreign policy, the whole historical catalogue. But this time she delivers it with that revival tent energy, like she's saying, see, I said this in 1996 and I'm saying it again now. And this time I brought receipts. And Penny Wong is just quietly absorbing it all, doing that serene diplomatic breathing that ministers do right before they respond with a carefully constructed sentence. Pauline then swoops into national service, job creation, cutting foreign aid, building railways, reforestation, infrastructure projects, tariff reforms, interest rates, and a list of neighbouring countries whose population sizes are apparently looming like some giant scoreboard in the background. She warns that Australia needs vision, needs leadership, needs unity, needs strength, and she does it with a passion level that could power a small country if plugged into the grid. She wraps it all up with a final flourish, dedicating her speech to the people of Oxley, to Australians who've supported her, promising she'll keep speaking her mind whether people like it or not. And honestly, after watching the sheer energy she brought into that chamber, it's hard not to imagine Penny Wong turning to a staffer afterward and whispering, right, I need a cup of tea, a strong one, maybe 2. And that's the whole spectacle, mate. A parody, retelling of a parliamentary moment so dramatic you could slap a title on it and sell it as an Aussie political soap opera. You've got passion, you've got callbacks to the 90s, you've got Wong stoically absorbing the theatrics, and Albanese not even in the room, but inevitably getting roped into the commentary. It's Parliament meets reality TV meets nostalgic remix, and somehow it's all in a day's work in the Australian Senate.